Well, this month we have been focusing, and we're going to continue to be focusing on Louise Hay work. You Can Heal Your Life. This is a book that we are focusing on this month. And as I shared with you last week, Louise's background and her life experiences really put her through some tremendous negative experiences. And yet when she found the religious science teachings, science of mind teachings, she was able to apply those teachings to her experiences and literally was able to let those things move her through and those to a more positive outcome in her life. And it was amazing how she had able to transform her life literally through our teachings. And one of the things that she became, as you go into our teachings, we have classes. You have a first-year class, you have second-year class, you have third-year class. And on the third-year class is what we call the practitioner experience, where you learn the different things that a practitioner does. A practitioner ultimately becomes licensed, and they're an individual that is knowing the truth for themselves, and then they allow to experience that with others. They have what they call clients or people that come to them that need some help, need some work done to help them know the truth of what they are. And so that's what a licensed practitioner does. And so Louise, in this book, she has a whole chapter on what a session is with Louise Hay. This is how she does her practitioner sessions. And so I thought it would be interesting to share with you some of that information. She said when somebody comes to her, she'll ask these questions. What is happening in your life? How is your health? What do you do for a living? Do you like to work? How are your finances? How is your love life? How did the last relationship end? Tell me about your childhood briefly. Well, you would think that after all of those questions, she would get to know the person pretty well, at least on an initial basis. But what she determined was that so many times the people would answer, and it would be very telling as to why they were there, what their issue was, what am I needing to know the truth for myself? Why am I here? And many, many times she would hear them say, well, I should do this, and I should do that, and I should do whatever. And she would hear these shoulds throughout this person's dissertation of what their life was about, what their life had been, what their life was going to be. It's shoulds. And she realized that I'm going to give them just a little test here, just a little exercise. Said, I'd like you to write, take a piece of paper, and I'd like you to write at the top, I should. And then fill in, maybe make 5 or 6 sentences. Fill it in for me. Tell me what it is I should do. And then what she realizes is that what that is doing, that's where I put that. I wondered where that was. Anyway. What she was doing, what the people were doing, were absolutely recognizing that when I say should, it puts blame, it puts a wrongness to you. You were wrong, you are wrong, or you're gonna be wrong if you are shoulding on yourself. And so she asked them, because so she puts that, she writes them down, so I should do this, I should do that, and she would ask them why. Simple question, why should you? And there again, the answers come out, well, my mother told me to, or whatever the reason. Well, everybody does that. What's the excuse you find that you should do it? So then she asked them to change it, just one word, change that should to could do. What a shift, what a difference that one letter makes, that one little bit going from should to could. Doesn't that make it much more empowering? That you have a choice. It's not like I'm wrong, I should be doing this. And most of the time, she says, when you ask them why aren't you doing it? The answer could, and then you write down, make a choice. I could do this. And then I say, if you're not doing it, well, why? Well, because I really don't want to. Most of the time, we are shoulding on ourselves when we really don't want to do it to begin with. So just acknowledge that. I don't want to do it. Obviously, if I wanted to do it, I would be doing it. Now, there's all sorts of things in life that I think we have a tendency to want to do, but we still aren't doing. I have that. It's one of my goals in the class is to have my desk cleared off. I had a friend pop in last night unexpectedly, and I said, "Oh, come on and stay in, have a chat." And so I gave her, hadn't been in my home before, so I told her, gave her the little tour. "Well, you aren't expecting me, it's okay." I said, "Oh, sure, no problem." And then she said, "Well, where do you write your talks?" So now, here's where I write my talks. I said, "Now, if I had been expecting you, my roll-top desk would have been pulled down." That's the only thing I probably would have done. But the thing of it is that all of us have these things in life where we really want to do something, and yet, for whatever reason, it's not getting done. So Louise Hay, God love her, she really studied with Florence Scovel Shinn, or studied her works. And what she was telling, many of our New Thought folks know the value of affirmations. And so we use affirmations to help us tell us, our subconscious, the truth. And so, we make up these affirmations to get over this egoic brain that keeps telling us all the wrong things, all the things that, I've got a messy desk and I don't like that. Well, then I am in order. The first law of the universe is order, and I am in order. And so we allow ourselves to establish in the truth of what it is that I am. We talk about the idea of I am being the name of God, right? And so when we say anything after I am, very, very, very important that we do it with truth, without this idea of the egoic mind that has a tendency to limit us, to isolate us, to give us other than the truth. So I'm going to get to the chase of this. I'm going to cut to the chase of it right now. The topic this morning is the miracle cure. And the miracle cure is love. The miracle cure is love. Bottom line, that's all there is to it. When we love ourselves from the inside out, everything else in our life will reflect in an orderly manner. That's the way it works. So, here's what she says in the book. I explain that no matter what their problems seem to be, there is only one thing I ever work on with anyone, and this is loving the self. Self-love. Love is the miracle cure. Loving ourselves works miracles in our lives. I am not talking about vanity or arrogance, for that is not love. That is fear. I am talking about having a great respect for ourselves and a gratitude for the miracle of our body and our mind. Love, to me, is appreciation to such a degree that it fills my heart to bursting and overflowing. Love can go in any direction. I can feel love for the very process of life itself, the joy of being alive, the beauty I see, another person, knowledge, animals, the universe and the way it works. The list goes on and on and on and on. And that's why I felt that Louise's work just fits so hand in glove with Thanksgiving, with November, with typical theme of gratitude. Because when we love, there is an automatic response of being grateful. You absolutely automatically go, wow, this is so cool. Thank you. It's an automatic response. And there's an automatic response when we have something other than love. And I'm, again, working on mine. Let's see. Somebody asked me what day am I on the 21-day cycle of letting go of negativity and criticism and all that business. And I don't remember saying anything on the freeway lately. But what I've done is I've come up with a mantra or an affirmation to help me when I have the tendency to be critical, of myself or someone else, to put it in that negative judgment. So what I've been doing is I say, I look for the good and praise it. I look for the good and I praise it. So you are letting go, you're speaking your word of thankfulness, of saying, yeah, I see you. I caught you doing something good, yay. Because we can say, I caught you doing something bad, nah. It's, and that's what our tendency is. That's what we grew up with. That's what's in that blueprint of our essence that we don't even think about. We're not conscious of it. So we place ourselves once again and again and again in filtering out and knowing this truth. How many of you are doing Deepak's 21-day meditations? Anybody here? Oh, good. In his meditations this week, he stated, you need only one thing, your true self, not your ego. Your true self needs only one thing. You need to learn to open up to life and evolve. You need to open up to life and evolve. So I got a new mantra too. That one reminds me of the mantra that says, life is an adventure. I'm on a thrill adventure of this life. Yesterday was yesterday. It was gone. It's been done. It's been lived. Thank you, God. Today's today. Living in the now. He says, and you can't do that. You can't live and evolve by listening to your ego because it wants to pull you back to the past or worry about the future. Your true self only lives in the now. So we see all this unknown potential. I'm on an adventure. How many of you, when you get lost, you're driving somewhere and your GPS has sent you way off in the wrong direction, like, how did I get here? This can't be right. What's going on? How did he tell me to do that? And then you stop and you say, I'm not lost. I'm on an adventure. It's like when you question yourself, like or I'm critical of myself, thinking, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. All that stuff. And so I'm saying, I am courageous. I can be, wherever I'm at, I'm in the right place. Because God's right here with me. My true self is what I am, so it's not going to forsake me. It's going to bring me through whatever this bump is that I might have. So when you have that faith that takes us through the questioning. I participated in Louise Jacobus is her name, Louise Jacobus's class she's been doing on Jesus through the heart of the Sufi. Jesus through the heart of the Sufi. I would highly recommend if you're available for it. It's a free class. She is meeting once a month, the last Friday of each month at her home. And it's great. She's got a wonderful curriculum. And we had about 10 folks there this Friday. And we've been studying the phrase that Jesus used, wherever two or more are gathered in my name, I am there. And there's a song that we can sing that goes with that. The Sufis are singers and dancers, so we're singing and we're dancing, and we're looking at when two or more are gathered in my name. And so we've been studying name. What is name? What is my name? What is the Christ name? What does that mean? And so she had this great exercise after our discussion that we had about it. And what is name? Now, she brought up in the Aramaic language the word name refers to, you can replace it with light, with consciousness. And I've always learned it as my nature. My name and nature go hand in hand. What is my name or nature? And so then she had us each gave us a piece of paper and a pencil, and she said, okay, why don't we go into just some silence and just write down what's coming to you from your heart as to what is the nature, the name of the Christ. How does that look to you? What is it? What is the nature of the Christ? And so we each wrote down, what we thought, what came up for us. And then we all put our papers in the center of the room, and then you grabbed somebody else's. And she told us we were going to do that, let somebody else read yours. And so as I'm writing down, you're in a roll, you're writing this stuff down, and then it dawned on me, like, somebody else is going to have to read this. I guess I better make sure that is readable. In any event, it was really great because it was an amazing experience to see what everybody's collective energy came up with as what is the nature of the Christ. And so she's going to be actually typing them up and emailing them so that we can have them all, with us later to review. And so I highly recommend that if you'd like to take participation in that, give me a shout, and I'll let you know how to do that, because it's she's a great teacher. And I love the energy, and of course we sing and dance, and I'm all into that. So one of the things that we were singing was Abum Be'amash Bawashmaya. Abum Bawashmaya. Abum Bawashmaya. I'll get it right. As soon as I keep saying it, I'll get it right. Abum Bawashmaya. Those are the Aramaic words of the first line of the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven. Abum Bawashmaya. Abaya. Abum, you got it. And so what we would do, we were singing and dancing. And so what we did is, in this dance, because, honestly, a lot of us, as we live our lives, what we need to remember is this order, this cleansing. We're always cleansing ourselves, right? Because we end up with these barnacles. We end up with, I call it the crud, the rust or the corrosion or whatever, these things that end up in our hearts and in our minds. Well, so this song is a way, literally, to release that barnacle buildup in our heart. And so you put your head down initially, and so you focus on your heart, and then when you bring your head up, you're opening your heart, and then you move your head, and this is when you swing, and you just take one step, and you are sweeping your heart clear of those barnacles. And it's a great practice to allow yourself to remember that, I need to just let go of all of this stuff that I equate is so important. When in all actuality, what is it that I'm so worried about what somebody else thinks of me? And in all actuality, they're not thinking of you. Don't worry about it. It's so true. Oh, and so as I put in my thought for the week, I really love this analogy of the idea that our thoughts are always open to us. There's always opportunities to choose the thoughts that we think, and they're like a buffet. You know, when we go in and we go into a buffet and there's all these different foods available. All, you know, you know that some of the big buffets they have like at the casinos or in Vegas. I mean, they just go on, table upon table upon table, right? And some of us know that as we go through life, maybe there's a particular food that doesn't set well with us. You know, maybe there's a food that, you know, gives us some, doesn't work well. And so sooner or later, what we're going to do is we're going to remember that, and we're not going to dish that up. We're not going to put it on our plate. We're not going to take some of that because it doesn't make me feel good. I'm not happy when I eat that. Well, it's the same thing with our thoughts. The same thing with our thoughts, and that is we get to choose. If there's a thought that comes in that says, I'm not enough, who do I think I am? That egoic mind is talking to you, right? And so you know, you acknowledge it. You're aware of it. Oh, that's a food that doesn't serve me. That's a food that is bitter. I don't like the taste of that food. Why am I continually consuming it then? I can choose something else. Let me choose a food that I do like. Let me choose a thought that I do like instead, that will support me, that is my truth. Literally. That is really the whole substance of it, is that when we are feeding on unreality and we're feeding on false things, they don't feel good. But when we are feeding on truth, when we are feeding on our goodness, on our love, on our joy, on our peace, on our harmony, on our order, all of those qualities that we are, in essence, we flourish. We bloom. It feeds us from the inside, and then whatever we do on the outside is evidenced in it. So I told you my mantra this week. I have another one. Oprah, in this 21-day meditation, I loved one of the things she said this week. I wrote it down. When confusion festers, fear creeps in. When confusion festers, fear creeps in. How many times have we found ourselves that way? That we find ourselves confused, I'm sure, I'm doubting, and then all of a sudden we become fearful. And that's when I throw out mine up. I am courageous. I am courageous. There's another one. When I go into my, I don't know, again, I don't remember what day I'm on in the 21-day. I guess it's an eternal 21-day cycle, isn't it? Of letting go of being critical, especially of myself, is this idea that I look for the good and I praise it. I look for the good and I praise it. When I am tempted to serve up a dish of something that's critical, that's bitter, I know it's bitter. I'm going to serve up, let me see, what would be a nice thing to look at in my awareness, to recognize, to accept, and praise it. Say thank you. Yay! This month is our month in particular to be grateful. To be grateful for our lives, just as they are. That's a big one. Just as my life is, I am grateful for. It is God's life. It is the life of God flowing through me here, guys. How am I going to represent this life of God to the best of my ability? That's what it's about. So we are to know our truth. We are to know that I am love in expression. That's what I'm here for. That's what all of us are here for. To be that love in expression. It is the love that cures everything. The cure-all. A miracle cure. Are you ready for a miracle? You're ready for a miracle? Well, what are you going to do? Gotta love. That's all there is to it. Dish up that heap full of love and let everything else go. We ready for that? Love is everywhere. What was our mantra? Love is everywhere.
Love makes the world go round.
And love makes the world go round. And I am loving and lovable. I am loving and lovable. Are you guys going to join me on this? Love is everywhere, and I am loving and lovable. Love is everywhere, and I am loving and lovable. And so it is. So there. All right. Amen. Okay.